We often think of strength as a wall, something hard, impenetrable, and unyielding. We are taught from a young age that if someone strikes us, we must strike back. We are told that to forgive is to be soft or to let someone win. But look around at the people who cannot let go. Look at the lines of bitterness etched into faces. Listen to the way a decades-old grudge can still poison a conversation today. Most of us are living in a mental Robben Island. We are locked in a cell of our own making, defined by what was done to each of us years ago. Today, we explore the life of a man who was literally locked in a cell for nearly 3 decades, yet walked out more free than the men who held the keys. To understand his strength, we have to understand the world that tried to break him. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was born in 1918 in the tiny village of Mvezo. His birth name, Rolihlahla, colloquially means pulling the branch of a tree, or more accurately, troublemaker. He was born into the Thembu royal family, but his path was not one of easy luxury. He grew up in a South Africa that was rapidly tightening the noose around the rights of its black majority. As he moved to Johannesburg to study law, he saw the reality of apartheid, a system of institutionalized racial segregation. Imagine a world where your skin color determined where you could walk, whom you could marry, and what jobs you were allowed to hold. It wasn't just prejudice, it was the law. In 1944, Mandela joined the African National Congress, ANC. At the time, the ANC was a movement fighting for a simple yet revolutionary idea that South Africa belonged to all who lived in it, black and white. Initially, Mandela and his peers, like Oliver Tambo and Walter Sisulu, pushed for nonviolent protest. But the government responded with the Sharpeville Massacre in 1960, where 69 peaceful protesters were shot in the back. This was Mandela's first great test of spirit. He realized that against a government that used violence as its primary language, turning the other cheek was being interpreted as submission. He became the leader of the ANC's armed wing. He went underground, earning the nickname the Black Pimpernel for his ability to evade the police. He was no longer just a lawyer, he was a revolutionary. In 1962, he was captured. During the famous Rivonia trial, Mandela faced the death penalty. Standing in the dock, he didn't beg for mercy. He delivered a speech that would define the rest of the century. He said, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." The state didn't execute him. They sent him to Robben Island. For the next 27 years, his name was banned from being printed. His face was not allowed to be shown in newspapers. He was a prisoner numbered 46664. This is where the story of strength becomes legendary. On Robben Island, Mandela went through a slow, painful metamorphosis. He worked in the lime quarries, where the white dust blinded him and the labor broke his body. He lost his mother while in prison. He lost his eldest son in a car accident. He was not allowed to attend either funeral. He had every reason to become a monster of hatred. But instead, he became a master of psychology. He realized that the white Afrikaners who oppressed him were also prisoners, prisoners of fear. He began to learn Afrikaans, the language of the oppressor. He studied their history, their theology, and their passions. He realized that if you want to make peace with an enemy, you must work with that enemy, and that enemy becomes your partner. He began secret negotiations from his cell, not to surrender, but to find a way for both sides to survive. In February 1990, the world held its breath. Nelson Mandela walked out of Victor Verster prison, hand in hand with his wife, Winnie. The troublemaker was free, but the country was on the verge of a civil war. Right-wing militias were arming themselves. Radical factions were calling for the expulsion of all whites. Mandela stood in the middle. In 1993, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize alongside F.W. de Klerk, the man who had been the president of the system that jailed him. He didn't win the Nobel for fighting, he won it for stopping a fight. In 1994, for the first time in history, Black South Africans stood in lines that stretched for miles to vote. Mandela was elected president. At his inauguration, he sat his former jailers in the front row. He didn't do this to gloat. He did it to show that the past was a closed book. He established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where the goal wasn't to put people in jail for the crimes of apartheid, but to bring the truth into the light so the nation could heal. So, what does the life of a South African prince-turned-prisoner-turned-president have to do with you? Most of us will never face a lime quarry. We will never be banned from our own country's history books. But we all face the apartheid of the heart, the moments where we feel segregated from our own joy because we cannot let go of a hurt. Mandela's life gives us the rule of 27. If a man can sit in a box for 27 years and come out with a smile and a hand extended in friendship, what excuse do we have to hold on to a grudge from last Tuesday? What excuse do we have to stay angry at a parent, a spouse, or a boss? True strength is not the ability to endure pain. It is the ability to transform pain. Mandela transformed his 27 years of suffering into the fuel that powered a new nation. As you finish this listening session, I want you to identify your Robben Island. What is the one memory, the one betrayal, or the one failure that you have been replaying in your mind? Forgiveness is the key that unlocks that door. It doesn't mean what happened was right. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with the person who hurt you. It simply means you are refusing to let them live in your head rent-free for one more second. As Mandela said, "May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears." Go forth today with the strength of a man who could not be broken by walls, and the spirit of a leader who knew that the greatest victory is a peace that lasts. You are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. Drop the weight. Walk through the gate. Your freedom starts now.